1943 was just half an hour old. The good folks of Boise City were fast asleep. The 4th of July had been a good one. The red, white, and blue made more significant because of the Great War raging on two fronts. It all seemed so far away from the high plains of the Panhandle. And then it started. From the darkness above came the drone of an airplane engine, dropping its payload on Boise City. It was an Army Air Corps B-17 flying a training mission from a base in Dalhart, Texas. The crew mistaking the 4 streetlights surrounding the courthouse for the lights of their intended target, a bombing range 40 miles away.
They were within a block, several of the bombs they dropped, so
they were close, but they were 40 miles off.
Right, yeah.
Norma Jean Young was 18 years old that night and can still pinpoint ground zero on the courthouse square.
Okay, here was the first one, right?
Okay, right. Pretty close to that pole up there.
They were 100-pound practice bombs. The first blew F.F. Bork's garage apart.
Stored in it. It was right along in here.
And this was an apartment building. People slept in there.
Yeah. And I'm sure it woke them up. And after they hit this, they circled and came back. And right there is the Baptist church. Now, at that time,
the second bomb skimmed the church's back wall.
I'm a Methodist. I have a Baptist friend who belonged to this church, and she said, you know, if that had been a Methodist church, that thing would have torn off that back wall.
The third bomb fell on this sidewalk. 3 others came down in rapid succession, one falling next to a gasoline truck whose driver had stopped at a cafe.
Across the street, I guess he was in there drinking coffee. He got back in that truck and he took off, and we haven't seen him since.
6 bombs fell in all, there around the courthouse. After half an hour, the barrage stopped when the town's electrician turned off the street lights.
The next morning, my folks ran the newspaper office, and the place was full of brass from the Air Force Base over at Dalhart. They had FBI men there and everybody you could think of, and they told us that it was just a mistake, that they were real sorry it happened, but it wouldn't happen again.
At least not to the crew responsible for the bombing. They were given the option of a court-martial or going to the front lines, 7 weeks short of completing their training. Apparently, their attack on Boise City proved their skill.
They had a new navigator. That was the problem.
No one knew it at the time, but it was navigator John Daly who pointed the warplane towards the Panhandle.
The regular navigator was in the hospital, so they put this new guy on the plane. Here they came.
No one was hurt that night, and the next day, Norma Jean, there in the hat, posed in one of the bomb craters. The mayor set up a table in front of the targeted church.
They sold war bonds all afternoon. Boy, they really rolled the money in.
In fact, Boise City puffed its chest out in pride at being the only American city bombed during the Second World War.
Well, you can imagine what would happen if that happened today.
Oh,
You'd have a legal army down here.
oh yeah. Gee whiz, we could have sued the heck out of that bunch. It really had us a great town here.
Boise City turned out pretty good anyway. Folks made a monument to that fateful night on the courthouse square, a replica of a bomb tilted in the cement towards the Texas Air Base. And attend a meeting at the community center, and there, sharing space with a drum and a tuba, is half of one of the original sand and gunpowder projectiles. The children of John Daly, the navigator, came back once to see the town their father tried to wipe out. Daly and the rest of the crew that bombed the town went on to win a chest full of medals and even led the entire 8th Air Force on the first daylight bombing raid of Berlin. How history would have changed had the folks of Boise City insisted on a court-martial. Goats can become heroes in the blink of an eye. Mistakes happen, they'll tell you here. But embarrassment can be reversed, and failure needn't stand.
There's the hero.
There's the hero. That's the fella who was the navigator.
And he's your hero because?
Because he put Boise City on the map while trying to destroy Boise City.
Scott Thompson, the Oklahoma Traveler.